over and above and gave me a really good deal on all this. Remember to patronize them if you ever get down that way to Bethlehem. Again, thanks to everybody. It's been a great event. We got an afternoon yet to hunt.
Yeah.
So I want to do a quick interview with these guys, discussing their injuries. Being as everybody in this room is a hunter or involved in hunting, both of these guys were victims of tree stand accidents, whether some people here knew that or not. Dan's tree stand actually broke, and Chris actually, tree went down with him in it. So we're going to talk about that on camera real quick. Yeah, we're here at a goose hunt that the Disabled Hunters Program put together for these two young men. At this time, I want to discuss the reason that they're both in wheelchairs. And it is because of tree stand accidents, something that's overlooked quite often here in Pennsylvania and across the country. To my right is Chris Saunders. Chris, you want to tell us what happened with you?
Yeah, my dad and I hunt up in New York State every year. It's a tradition we have. And drove up Friday night to set up my stand for first thing Saturday morning hunt. And I went out, I set up my stand in the tree I always hunt from. And shimmied up there first thing in the morning, opening day, and that was just enough weight on the right side of the tree, and the whole thing toppled while I was up in it in the self-climber. And the tree was probably not as healthy as it should have been. But again, rushing, getting up there was something that was overlooked. So that's something pretty important to look over the tree you're sitting in.
And the tree actually came down on you?
No, the tree twisted. It didn't crush me, but when it hit the ground, it broke my vertebrae.
And what was the extent of your injury, real quick?
Paraplegic from the waist down, and no sensation or movement or anything. So, and then I also broke sternum, ribs, collapsed a lung. It was bad.
Sounds.
Yeah.
And Dan, yourself?
Same thing like Chris. I was using a climbing stand back in 2010, and we hunted all morning. I had my safety belt on in the morning because it was going to be a couple-hour hunt. I'm a construction guy. I don't feel like I need it all the time, but I'm very good with the balance and this and that, and I'm comfortable up in the tree. So we went, after that hunt, we went looking at cameras, and we passed a nice deer, and I said, let's make a move on that one. I said, I'll take my stuff in, and I just took the bow and walked in with a tree stand, and he went down at the start of the road, and he was going to push it towards me. Well, the deer got by us, and the whole thing took maybe 15 minutes. And as he left to go get the car, and we're near a busy highway, my first movement down, if you know how to use the climbers, you put all your weight on the top, you lift your legs, and you stick them back down. As I lifted my legs, something snapped. I dug back into the tree, thinking, okay, it wasn't my feet, but then this part I thought was attached. You lose your balance because you're locked in. I lost my balance, and this come right off. So now I had nothing to grab onto, and now I'm falling back. I couldn't get my feet out to jump, so I fell dead flat, maybe 12 feet, and I knew instantly, like Chris, that I was paralyzed. If I'm about the belly button down, I'm a T9, and it was a burst fracture, and my legs were on top of me. I had the cell phone I couldn't get to. I'm thinking to myself, I know the spinal cord injury, you're not supposed to move. Like a neck, they'll move them. Well, there's no way I'm going to get help if I couldn't, because I was yelling like crazy, and nobody could hear me. So I got my phone and was able to call my buddy Fran, and they had a big deal get me out of the woods, cutting trees down, stuff, and like the highway is right here. Just stop traffic, pull me out. But it's just another thing that you gotta, like Chris, you can't overlook the importance of a safety belt. And even if I'm comfortable doing my construction, which wearing a safety belt all the time, Joe's in the business, you just can't do it. We're not OSHA. To make a living as a little guy privately, if you wear that safety belt all the time, it's going to take you forever to get anything done. We don't have the manpower to help that way. So, you walk around this plank and you're thinking, it stands bigger than the plank I walk around, and just something that you rely on your equipment because you used it so well, and it was something that I didn't do wrong necessarily. But if the bolt didn't have failed, I wouldn't have fallen. So, but it was tough exit, tough to go through, and I'm glad I met Joe a couple of years ago, and, you know, the hunts that we've been able to do so far are fantastic. I mean, you got Chris involved here, and just meeting you guys, I mean, seeing how generous you are, because this isn't something, you can see the work getting us out there, getting us in the blind, it's not easy, so it's not like we can just go hunting. You know, me and Chris can't take each other, so usually I have somebody that takes me, drops me off, somebody picks me up, you know, so that kind of thing, but it's, you know, without a group of guys like you guys yourself, the bow hunters in Pennsylvania, it would be tough to do something like this,
Yeah,
so
thank you.
very appreciative.
And just, you know, back to the whole tree stand thing, you know, so much is made of the fact of wearing a safety harness. But here's an incident where it was not necessarily the safety harness, but it was a tree failure, where the actual tree, a rotted tree, fell. And with Dan's situation, it was a stand that actually failed. Anything mechanical, anything built by human hands can fail, can break, and that's what happened. So check your equipment, check your trees, be cognizant, check everything, check it twice, make sure you have your safety equipment. It's very important. Your number one responsibility is to get home safe to your family. Thank you.